Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're going to continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3, Chapter 25, Text 11. Tam tva gataham sharanam sharanyam svabhritya samsara tarokutara jigyasayaham prakrite purushasya namami saddharma vidam varishtam. We finished this yesterday. Sorry, so we are on text 12. Maitreya vacha iti svamatur niravadyam ipshitam nishamya pumsam apavarga vardhanam diyabhinandyatma vatam satam gatir babasa ishad smita shobhita naha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maitreya said after hearing of his mother's uncontaminated desire for transcendental realization, the Lord thanked her within himself for her questions, and thus, his face smiling, he explained the path of transcendentalists who are interested in self-realization. Devahuti has surrendered her confession of material entanglement and her desire to gain release. Her questions to Lord Kapila are very interesting for persons who are actually trying to get liberation from material entanglement and attain the perfectional stage of human life. Unless one is interested in understanding his spiritual life or his constitutional position, and unless he also feels inconvenience in material existence, his human form of life is spoiled. One who does not care for these transcendental necessities of life and simply engages like an animal in eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating has spoiled his life. Lord Kapila was very much satisfied by his mother's questions because the answers stimulate one's desire for liberation from the conditional life of material existence. Such questions are called apavarga vardhanam. So, we keep on asking questions. Whole day we are asking questions from one another throughout the course of the day with our family, friends, colleagues, whoever. But what are we asking those questions? What are those questions? And how are they affecting us or influencing us? Here, Devahuti, she's asking questions which can help her get liberation. And this sort of questions are important for us to ask. Otherwise, as is stated here, our human life is spoiled. Otherwise, we are just engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So, apavarga vardhanam. Who am I? The intense desire for liberation, the intense desire to understand our original position in truth. Those who have actual spiritual interest are called sat or devotees. Satam prasangat. Sat means that which eternally exists, and asat means that which is not eternal. Unless one is situated on the spiritual platform, he is not sat, he is asat. The asat stands on a platform which will not exist, but anyone who stands on the spiritual platform will exist eternally. So asat, why is it called asat? We are thinking we are the body, but that's not true, because what's going to happen after we leave this body? We continue to exist, but not with this identity. Then whichever is our next destination, we are taking up that identity. So that is asat. The true sat, the true eternal existence is when we are situated on the platform of the soul. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. I'm the spirit soul. That is the sat platform, spiritual platform. As spirit soul, everyone exists eternally. But the asat has accepted the material world as his shelter, and therefore he is full of anxiety. So why we are full of anxiety? Because we are thinking that we belong here to this material world. We are identifying ourselves with this material world. We identify ourselves with this body. We have forgotten that we are the soul. And that's what is giving us anxiety. Asadgrahan, the incompatible situation of the spirit soul, who has the false idea of enjoying matter, is the cause of the soul's being asat. So what is the thing now? Why we are so attached to the material world? Because we have this desire. And what is this desire? It's this false idea that we can enjoy matter, that we are going to get enjoyment by trying to enjoy matter. That is the false idea. We like to enjoy. The spirit soul is Sat Chit Ananda, is blissful, is ever blissful. We don't even know what's bliss in this material world. So on the platform of the soul, it's all Sat Chit Ananda. But now we are thinking, oh, the way we are going to get this Ananda, this enjoyment, is when we are trying to enjoy matter. That is our illusion. Actually, the spirit soul is not asat. As soon as one is conscious of this fact and takes to Krishna consciousness, he becomes Sat. Satam Gatihi, the path of the eternal, is very interesting to persons who are after liberation. And his lordship, Kapila, began to speak about that path. Satam Gatihi, the path of the eternal, those who are interested in self-realization, liberation. Any comments or questions? No, then we'll continue.
So that means in the material world, we can still experience Satta Gatihim, Gatihi.
So the Satam Gatihi is then when we are on the process of the truth, the path of the eternal. You know, now as we are trying to revive our Krishna consciousness,
Right.
we are on that path now.
Okay.
Not yet reached, right? It's a journey then.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, the path. At least we are beginning the journey, you know. By the more we hear and more we chant, we are trying to understand who am I truly, you know, who am I actually? Yeah.
So by understanding it, it's like we are in that platform, Satam Gatihi.
Yeah, and then there would be different levels to be on that platform. So at least we have taken one step towards that, or at least we have that, you know, desire to take a step towards that path, like that. So again, it would depend. Each of us are in a different journey, right? In a different level. But yes, Satam Gatihi, the path of the eternal. Yes. Okay. This is the path to take for people who are interested after liberation, who are interested to understand who am I truly. And so Prabhupada is saying, take to Krishna consciousness, and that is the path. Yes. So yes, we are on that path by trying to hear and chant. That's the path. Is that okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. 13. Shri Bhagwan Vacha Yoga Adhyatmika Pumsam Mato Nihishre Atyanto Paratir Yatra Dukhasya Cha Sukhasya Cha. Actually, everyone should be on that path. You know? Why? Because each of us are spirit souls. So each of us shouldn't be here in this material world. Each of us should be inquiring, who am I? Let me get out of here. How do I, you know, get out of here? So, yeah. The personality of Godhead answered, the yoga system which relates to the Lord and the individual soul, which is meant for the ultimate benefit of the living entity, and which causes detachment from all happiness and distress in the material world, is the highest yoga system. Personality of Godhead. So Lord Kapila, he's the Supreme Lord himself. And he is saying, which is the highest yoga system which relates to the Lord and the individual soul. So it's the soul and the Supreme Lord. Once one realizes that, that is the ultimate, the highest benefit for the soul. And when once one has realized this, or once one is on that path, what happens is gradually, we begin to understand that there is no happiness in this material world, but in fact, experiencing all the happiness in devotional service, detachment from all happiness and distress in the material world. So understanding that there is no enjoyment in matter. So in the material world, everyone is trying to get some material happiness. But as soon as we get some material happiness, there is also material distress. In the material world, one cannot have unadulterated happiness. Any kind of happiness one has is contaminated by distress also. For example, if we want to drink milk, then we have to bother to maintain a cow and keep her fit to supply milk. Drinking milk is very nice. It is also pleasure. But for the sake of drinking milk, one has to accept so much trouble. So now we don't need to keep cows. We do not have the facility also. But the idea is, okay, we want to drink milk, then we have to go to the supermarket to buy it. Then we need to have enough resources to be able to do that. So to get something, get some pleasure, we really have to work. We might say, I just go to the supermarket, but then again, to be able to live in a place that's near the supermarket, or to have enough money even to go buy. So some work has to be done to make that money, to be able to buy the milk, to be able to enjoy it. So this is how the material happiness is. To get some happiness, there is a lot of endeavor. A lot of endeavor is involved. But whereas by being in Vaikuntha, we don't have to endeavor. Just by being there, we feel happy. You know why? Because it's Ananda. Ananda, there is no distress over there. Here, by being in the material world, we don't automatically experience happiness. We have to do something to get happiness. And then doing something involves a lot of distress. So the yoga system, as here stated by the Lord, is meant to end all happiness and material distress, or end all material happiness. I'm sorry, not all happiness. Happiness is actually on the spiritual platform, because the soul, Anandamaya Bhyasat, the soul is always happy, Anandamaya Bhyasat. The best yoga as taught in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna is Bhakti Yoga. It is also mentioned in the Gita that one should try to be tolerant and not be disturbed by material happiness or distress. Krishna says in 2.14, chapter 2, text 14, that the happiness and distress will come and go. They are like winter and summer seasons, but you just tolerate them. Just tolerate. That's what he's telling us, that the situation will keep changing, but you continue, just tolerate it, just continue hearing and chanting. You do your duty, whatever you need to do. In the process of that, you will get some happiness, some distress, but you continue hearing and chanting. Of course, one may say that he is not disturbed by material happiness, but he does not know that just after one enjoys so-called material happiness, material distress will follow. This is the law of the material world. Lord Kapila states that the yoga system is the science of the spirit. Now, yoga, what does yoga mean? To understand the soul, the situation, the position of the soul. That is the goal of yoga. One practices yoga in order to attain perfection on the spiritual platform. There is no question of material happiness or distress. So yoga, the aim of yoga is to self-realization. That was the process in Satyuga. Yeah, in Satyuga, the yoga process was prevalent to understand the soul and to understand the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Soul, the Supreme Lord. It is transcendental. Lord Kapila will eventually explain how it is transcendental, but the preliminary introduction is given here. Is that okay?
Yes.
Comments on the material happiness? Why is that a problem?
This world is full of miseries, no?
Yeah.
Right? So that's
It
why we
is.
have to learn, right? Dukhalyam
It is.
ashashwatam, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Krishna says that. And in this course of miseries, there will be some drops of happiness. And so Krishna is saying, don't get carried away in that happiness, because the time will also change. Just tolerate it. One should be, because we are saying, oh, why you have to tolerate happiness? You'll be happy in it. But he's saying, don't be disturbed by that happiness. Don't get carried away. Try to maintain a balance, tolerate. Yeah, but as you said, Dukhalayam Ashasvatam. So only when we realize, oh, this is Dukhalayam Ashasvatam, so where is the bliss then? I want to be blissful. So where is the bliss? Bliss is in the spiritual world. Go back home, back to Godhead.
So there is this one that we think that we are very, very happy in this material world. But they say that when a person is pushed in a water-filled bucket, and when he comes out and he takes a gasp of air, that is the amount of happiness that we have in this material world.
Yeah.
And we think that we are so happy. Oh my God, it is the best place. We are the happiest. Yeah. But we don't even know what misery is.
Yeah. So then just imagine when we are truly liberated, how much happy we will feel.
Yes.
Wow. Just imagine. If we are thinking this is happiness, then imagine when we are really situated in our original position, our constitutional position, then how much happy we can feel.
Absolutely.
There will feel only any, right, misery.
I'm sorry?
You will not feel any misery, right?
Yeah, there's no misery. Yeah.
No misery.
Yeah, no misery. Ananda Maya Bhyasya. There's only happiness.
Happiness.
Yeah, Sat Chit Ananda. Eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. No misery. No ingredient of misery there. And so why does the misery come? Why we are feeling misery over here? You know why? Because we are looking for this Ananda. We are Satchid Ananda and we are thinking we are going to get Ananda in this matter. But this matter is unconscious. It's dead. It's dead. This body is actually dead. But we are thinking, I'm going to enjoy. And we are then finding it distasteful. So we are looking for Krishna. We are looking for Krishna, but we are not finding him here. Then hearing and chanting.
So that means that when we go out and we see a beautiful mountain, we are happy because we think that it's Krishna?
If we are not Krishna conscious, then we are happy because, this mountain so beautiful. I'm enjoying so much. My eyes are getting so much pleasure. Only if we relate it to Krishna, that becomes Krishna conscious. But otherwise, we are saying, my eyes are looking at something so beautiful.
And that's material.
That's material. Yeah. So it's not that there is no happiness here. There is pleasure, as we said. There is. That's why. But it's very little, yeah. If there was no pleasure here, we wouldn't be able to live here.
Yeah, we should relate it to, like, everything is like Krishna's creation, right? Yeah.
Yes, that's the perfection. If we can relate, such a beautiful mountain. Krishna says, I'm great as the mountain, greatest of the great. Krishna has created such a great mountain. Yes, then that's Krishna consciousness. So that we do find pleasure here in the material world. And that's what's keeping us here in this material world. The tiny scraps of pleasure, tiny scraps. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. But then what happens is gradually we begin to realize, oh, but these are just tiny scraps of pleasure. I want to be happy all the time. Why should I have only this tiny? I want to be all the time happy. But that's when I'm situated in my original position as the soul. Then we begin to inquire, what's happening? Why am I here? What am I doing? How can I get out of here? And then Krishna consciousness is the best way, easiest, fastest way, recommended in this age of Kali to get out of here.
So is it that they mentioned that when Devhuti got frustrated because she also had pleasure, she also experienced a lot of pleasure, but when she got frustrated, then she inquired, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. When she got frustrated.
Okay.
Yeah. So, as each of us is on an individual journey, right? Each soul, each individual soul, we are on a different journey. So, depends. And then what happens sometimes, one may not get internally frustrated, but can receive the mercy of the devotee. And then,
that's what I
what's happening?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, So, different ways. But yeah, Krishna says, no, that 4 types of people come to me, the pious, the distressed. The 4 kind of pious people come to me. The distressed, the
Inquisitive.
which is that?
Inquisitive.
Needy. Need of wealth, yes.
And distress.
And yes, and
one
knowledge.
Knowledge.
The one who's seeking knowledge. So he says 4 types of pious people come to me. And what's that piety?
Sukriti, is it?
Sukriti, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like how we do Sankirtan. So if somebody has heard that name, and then if they are in distress or if they need, and then because of that, they come to the temple, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's right. So, should we stop here for today?
Okay.
Thank you so much for listening and enjoying it. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.